I'm a venture investor in the US India corridor, so I work with a lot of immigrant Indian founders, and these are people who are sort of have some early traction from India, selling to global customers, arrive in Silicon Valley, want to start raising here immediately. And there is such a basic misconception that a lot of these founders have. I just ask them a very simple question that, hey, are you a US company? Right? Like Delaware C Corp is literally like the step zero, right? I mean, that's like the easiest thing that anyone can do. But is the founder here? How much of your revenue is actually US? Are you, do you have any team members here? Right? Is your kind of immigration status sorted out? If these are not in place, how do you expect a US venture firm to put in a few $1 million in your startup? I mean, it's like this is basic 101, but this is like a very common misconception, at least in the
Very
US India
common.
corridor. And I'm actually spending a lot of time just repeating this message again and again.
That's a great point. Yes, we have had that experiences as well in the different situations that I've been either coaching or working with companies directly as an investor. And yes, being a Delaware C Corp is really basic. It's not a surprise, but people tell themselves and rationalize to themselves things like, when we get the money, when I have a term sheet, then I'm going to become a Delaware C Corp. I'm like, okay, that might work. That you could say that. How many months will that take? Do you have a lawyer already who's explained that process to you? Are you actually taking steps in that direction? Because when you get the money, you need to be ready to go. The money is not an invitation to start getting yourself in order. And the same applies to other things like um, whether or not you have your finances, organized. Like there are some founders who have been in product development for so long, they've just kind of taken a holiday from some of the boring administrative parts of the business. And the thing is, you can't say, well, once I get the money, then I'm going to get my accounting in order, or I'm going to know how I'm going to use the funds in more than just like a general hand wavy way of like, it's 20% for marketing and 30% for engineering or something like that. You've actually got to have a very good understanding of your current financial condition and a very detailed plan and timeline, so that the investor doesn't want to like give you money so that you then just like sit on it and then decide how to professionalize your business. So the Delaware C Corp, some of your financial organization, and just showing that you know how to build a cross-border business and employ people in different places, and that you can manage people across time zones. People will, if they fall down, it's going to be because of these messy legal, sometimes accounting and tax, and of course like human management predicaments. And yeah, you just need to be like doing those things already. Because people want to invest in a business they can see, not a business that you promise that you'll be able to build and manage professionally in the future. And that's a big part of that change from being someone who's built something like a product or a website or an app, something, and going to then being like the real founder of a startup to then a CEO of a company. And those are slightly different variations. They are only harder. So show that you can do these hard things, because that's a level of complexity that is often like jumping to the next level in a video game. It doesn't get any easier. It can become much more complex, much more hard. And that's not a thing to shy away from. Rather, it's a thing to say like, yeah, look, I'm taking those steps. I'm doing those things, rather than push it off or promise that you would get around to it when the money comes.
Yeah, you almost have to be kind of proactive in terms of structuring the company and kind of taking really every step in the company towards making it institutional ready, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to get funded. In fact, I've been spending a lot of time with a very, very smart founder who's based in Canada and built a very interesting robotics company. He's actually now getting customers in the US as well. And now, of course, wants to raise capital at some point in the Bay Area. And so that's what I told. I said, like, look, you need to now set up your US entity right now, right? And you need to work with the right law firm who can do that structure in the right way, so that when a US VC actually looks at your company, right, there are like minimum questions. Even that process, and the company, of course, is like 3 to 4 years in. It's taking a lot of work, right? It's taking a lot of effort, like even getting to the right law firm, getting the structuring going, contracts, intellectual property. So it just gets harder the more kind of deeper you are into the process of building the company.
That's right. And that is hopefully something that benefits you later because you've started to develop a relationship with legal counsel that will work with you through fundraising, which is not trivial, and it will require a lot of back and forth. And you need to build up trust with these folks because their understanding of what matters to you can be very important in structuring future transactions, in particular, a funding round, and also picking a law firm that, or a specific attorney that you're working with, with whom you have first rapport, but also they bring credibility, is a signal of what you're doing, and the professionalism of what a tier one investor expects.